All right. So I'm going to show you guys how to solve combined inequalities. So as you can see, that's like a regular inequality. There's a regular inequality. There's a regular inequality. Now they're combined. So these are considered ands. These are the or styles. So the and styles, we're going to have a process which is a little bit different than this process, but we have to remember something. When we go to graph these, the signs that are like this require an open circle, but the signs that are less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, are a filled in circle. And that's super important that you remember that. They look like little faces. So I always draw lines down my inequalities. So we have to get the x by itself. We know that. So we have to do C do again. So we're going to do the opposite. But when we do it to here, we have to do it to both sides because it's combined. It's more than one thing. So I have x left. I keep my inequalities the same because I'm not dealing with a negative letter. If I'm dealing with multiplying or dividing by a negative, I have to reverse my inequality signs. And I'm not, so I get to leave them as is. Bad 2, bad 4 makes bad 6. Good 7, bad 4. Good 3. And now we have to graph this. So when we go to graph this, it's a very simple thing. See how the x is in the middle? That means these lines are going to connect and stay in between because x is between these two numbers. So easiest way to graph this is we put the closer, the negative over here, the positive over here if there is a different one. These are both open circles. And the x is in the middle, so we connect them. Now, if we look at it backwards, we can see x is less than 3. So there's the x is less than 3. And if we look at it this way, from here this way, x is the bigger mouth open here, greater than the negative 6, which means it's shooting that way. So some kids and some teachers show this shoots this way, this one shoots this way. We get rid of the overlap, so it just stays what's in between. All right, I'll show you another one. We draw our lines down. We have a two-step in here. We still do the same thing. Subtract 1, 3x. Good 4, bad 1. Bad 5, bad 1. Divide by the 3. We're still divided by a positive, so we don't have to change our inequalities. X is by itself. We graph. -2, 1. Close circles. X is in between. So we would look at it, x is less than or equal to a 1, so we go that way. And then x is greater than or equal to a -2, or -2 is less than or equal to the x, so that means it goes that way. Everything in between here works. Now, the bottom one, before we move to the ors, this has a negative letter. So we're going to be reversing inequality signs. So follow me on this one. -2, -2, -2. Same concept. -2x less than or equal to. Bad 6, bad 2, bad 8. Good 8, bad 2, good 6. Dividing by a -2. Divide by a -2. Divide by a -2. Reverse my sign. Reverse my sign. -3, plain old x, +4. See how my 4 is down here? And normally I'm just dropping my numbers. Well, we kind of got the opposite thing going here. So we need a 4 down here and a -3 down here. X is better than a -3. That's an open circle shooting this way. And x is less than or equal to a 4. Shooting this way. But then we can kind of go like this. Because x has to be greater than a -3, but x has to be less than or equal to a 4. So So both things have to work for it. So it's everything in between. So technically it's a -3. It doesn't ink the -3. It's a -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 that work for this. Some people put the solution set is anything greater than the -3. So kids will put like -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you can put X is all real numbers greater than a -3, but less than or equal to a -4. Or you can just, most of the time, you're just graphing them. Now back up to the ORs. Now this is just like two equations, or two inequalities. So we're going to be like adding the 3, 2x less than or equal to about 11, 10, 9, 8. Divide by 2, divide by 2. X is less than or equal to a -4. Add 12, add 12. 2x greater than 12, divide by 2, divide by 2. X is greater than 6. When we graph this, x is greater than 6, and x is less than or equal to a -4, they shoot away from each other. So most of the time, they're going that way from each other. Occasionally, they might run together, but most of the time, the ORs run away. -2, -2, 4x greater than 8, divide by 4, divide by 4, x is greater than 2. Divide by 2, divide by 2, x is less than -5. Both signs are open. We need numbers that are less than -5 and numbers that are greater than a 2. Nothing in between works. Our lines shoot in two different directions because they can be less than a -5 or greater than a +2. Or means either thing works. So that's how we graph those. And as always, this is Miss Bobby, and I love math. Diet Coke and CrossFit.